With new coronavirus cases being reported nearly every day, there's still many questions about how campus life here at Elon will look. Elon News Network is committed to bringing you decision makers who help determine the university's path forward. Tonight, Provost Aswani Volety joins us in the studio. He's the university's Chief Operations and Academic Officer overseeing student life among other divisions, and he reports directly to University President Connie Book. Provost Volety, thanks for joining us tonight.
My pleasure.
So it's been a pretty busy first year for you in this job. Is it anything like you expected?
Well, it's what I expected and more. Actually, I'll be lying if I say this hasn't been insane. Obviously, when you start a new job, you're trying to learn the culture of a place and get to know the place, and you have some goals, etc., set for yourself as to what you're going to accomplish. And mostly they revolve around academic affairs, new programs, student life, and all those things. But this year has been an unusual year, not just for me, for everybody. Between the global pandemic and the racial tensions that rock the nation, etc., there's a lot more to a university setting than academics, etc. So definitely it's been a very, very busy but exciting year so far.
And due to the pandemic, obviously some classes here at Elon have had to transition to either a hybrid format or a completely online format. Do you think students taking classes of these types are getting enough out of them as they would a normal class?
Certainly it is different, for sure. As you know, Elon's model and mission has been face-to-face, engaged learning. But what has not changed is whether it is a face-to-face instruction, hybrid instruction, or completely remote instruction. The faculty members worked very hard this summer to transition their courses from a predominantly face-to-face to all the formats that I just mentioned. They went through a lot of workshops. We made a lot of technological advancements, new programs, etc. So the faculty members are ready for these classes this fall, unlike spring semester where we had to switch over to a remote or a hybrid version in a span of 1 week. So I would say it is different for sure. It's very different than what we're normally used to. But nonetheless, the impact that the students are getting, the engaged learning, the group activities, etc., they look different, but they certainly are getting. Having said that, different students have different learning styles and so on and so forth. But faculty are working very closely with students to make sure they're getting what they're supposed to get. And between disability services, library, faculty members, etc., and advising, students are definitely getting what they're supposed to get. It is different, that I will give you.
Yeah, and you brought up racial tensions that have come up across our country, and some students here at Elon have told us that they feel unsafe given the pro-Trump convoy that drove through last week. And part of your job description is, quote, creating a more inclusive and respectful community. So what are you doing to support those students who may feel unsafe, or some say they don't feel very heard by the administration?
Yeah, as President Book mentioned, we've already taken some steps to address some of these things. Increased patrolling, and some of the steps we are taking, we can't quite mention those things, but to make sure that we're working with students, faculty, and staff to ensure that they feel safe. But feeling safe just doesn't mean that we listen to them. We're also taking some actions. We're working with the town of Elon and the Elon Police Department to ensure that we're taking some steps so that they result in some concrete actions. It could be preventing individuals from trespassing, ticketing individuals, etc. But these are only a few steps that Elon University and the town of Elon are taking to ensure that the faculty, staff, and students feel secure.
Yeah, and some Elon students are telling us also that they feel like university officials are not being transparent with them. What would you say to these students?
I think certainly more communication is necessary. The more we hear from them and the more we respond to them and their concerns will go a long way. For example, we had a town hall meeting this past Friday where some of these things, these issues were raised. And we have 2 more town hall meetings coming up, one this coming Friday and one on October 9th. Certainly the next one is targeted towards students. I would encourage all the students to submit some questions so that we can actually look at the questions, look at students' concerns, and comment on some of those things. And some might take a little bit of time. It might seem that we are being accused or we are not as transparent, but on the contrary. Some of the things are a little more complex, a lot more nuanced, and so we urge students some patience, and we promise that a lot of steps are being taken care of to address these things. And we live in this neighborhood, not just the students. So it is in our best interest to ensure that everybody, not just the students, faculty, staff, the community feels safe and included in the conversations.
So the union Elon adjunct faculty are trying to form. They filed 2 charges alleging retaliation against 2 former faculty members for engaging in union activity. Should faculty be worried about speaking out in favor of the union out of fear of potential retaliation?
No, absolutely not. If you look at a lot of emails on faculty staff email that we currently have, on any academic campus, we encourage the discourse, right? It has to be respectful. And sometimes when it comes to personnel matters, we are unable to comment on individual personnel matters, and for that reason, I'm not able to comment on those things. But I can assure you there are a lot of pros and cons from faculty and staff that speak on this issue, and there is absolutely no retaliation. It's just that being in this role and being that this is a personnel matter and something that's under litigation, I'm unable to comment on it. But I would let the process take its course, but I want to assure anybody who wants to speak up, no, they should speak their mind.
Provost Volety, thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Welcome.